We begin here tonight with breaking news. The FBI says Iran and Russia have tried to interfere in the November election.
U.S. government officials wrapping up a press conference just moments ago. They say both Russia and Iran have obtained voter registration data from some Americans and tried to use it to sway them ahead of the election November 3rd.
We would like to alert the public that we have identified that two foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific actions to influence public opinion relating to our elections. First, we have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy. To that end, we have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump. Additionally, Iran is distributing other content to include a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots, even from overseas. This video and any claims about such allegedly fraudulent ballots are not true.
Now, despite this threat, American intelligence officials say they did act quickly to stop Iran and Russia and protect the integrity of the upcoming election.
Rest assured that we are prepared for the possibility of actions by those hostile to democracy. The great women and men of the intelligence community caught this activity immediately, and our colleagues at FBI and DHS acted swiftly in response to this threat.
A top intelligence official tells the Associated Press the U.S. will impose, quote, costs and consequences to those behind foreign interference. We want to bring in now a guest, former FBI special agent in New York City, Kansas City, and also Chicago. This is Phil Andrews. Phil, thank you for talking to us tonight. So specific actions to manipulate public opinion regarding the election. The FBI did not take any questions, and they were a bit ambiguous as to what the American public should be looking for. Your reaction to what we've just learned?
Well, in some ways, this is not surprising that we have been aware of the intelligence threat from foreign influencers for some time. This was made aware back in 2016. And those investigations clearly pointed to the trace work from specific foreign actors. And I think part of the reason you're not getting more specifics is this is an ongoing investigation. And the intelligence community is responding in kind and will be continuing to counter that threat. But they also wanted to make sure that the folks that are getting those spoofed emails and fake information, that they're aware of that. And there's a lot that we can do as a general public to protect ourselves from that.
So how are people supposed to know when they're getting this information, Phil?
Well, one of the key things is that when you get anything on the internet that is from an email, you can almost be certain that it's not coming from a government source. So your clerk's office, the IRS, the FBI, they do not communicate with the general public via email. That's going to require an in-person visit. There's going to be a phone call. They're going to send you a letter and ask you to respond to them. So some of that is just kind of general personal protection from being influenced by spoofers and fraudsters.
And Phil, obviously there were a lot more, I think, questions tonight than answers based on that press conference. But it sounds like this really, in terms of Iran and Russia, was a PR effort to get some misinformation or propaganda in front of people's eyes. Should we at least be, at least in this moment, a little relieved that it wasn't targeted in the sense of interference in the actual rolls or messing with the computers that tabulate results? There's a difference between a social media or PR push and then interfering with the actual election infrastructure in terms of how we maintain and tally votes in this country.
That's right. And I think that's one of the things that the officials were making clear, Director Wray, that we should have high confidence in our systems and in our intelligence community responding to this threat. That obviously they were able to identify this, they're responding to it, they will be ongoing. But they're also coordinating now with the private sector, with local and state agencies to make sure that these systems are not penetrated and that we can have a high level of confidence as we move into this election.
Phil, I'm wondering, I know you did some time in Chicago here working for the FBI, and in 2016 this happened as well. The voter registration system was hacked in Illinois, but that information wasn't used. It sounds like this time we know the information was hacked and it was used. Is that fair?
Well, I think it's been used to try to influence those folks. What we don't know is, what we do know from 16 is that none of those votes were affected, and that it seems from the reporting so far that that's also the case here, that the hack and the intrusion that captured some of those addresses has not been used to influence vote, other than pinging people in influencing ways through using social media and spoofed emails. And in truth, as we move closer into this, the final days and week of this election, folks need to be conscious that they are looking toward quality sources, that they're vetting the information that they're receiving. And that's going to become true more and more as we explore and journey through this information age, that we're just going to have to be critical consumers of information.
And Phil, before we let you go, the FBI director said he will be transparent and communicating with the public moving forward. So what should we be expecting as far as this investigation and next steps as to what the public should be doing?
I think where the intelligence community and the director have the opportunity to share specific information that will be helpful to the American people and to policymakers in making decisions, they will continue to do it. Much of this intelligence work is done behind the scenes using techniques and utilizing assets that are not well suited for being publicly displayed. So I think what you can expect as much of what he said is that folks are very dedicated to this. My former colleagues in the intelligence community at the FBI take this very personally, have been thinking about this and working on this for several years now. This is not a new threat. It is an unusual threat in that it is being targeted in an election, but now we know more about this threat. And I think that you can see greater success because of the knowledge of these pattern and practice by foreign intelligence communities.
And Phil, real quick, like you said, not a new threat. This feels a little bit like deja vu from 2016, where Russia clearly tried to meddle in the election to benefit President Trump. Have we learned enough lessons from 4 years ago? Have we pushed back strongly enough against hostile foreign actors to send a message you won't get away with in 2020, what clearly they got away with in 2016?
Well, I think what the way that I've come to understand the intelligence game is that this is never a game that is just won, that is an ongoing process. There's always a lot of cat and mouse, and that the U.S. intelligence community needs all the tools and certainly the confidence and support of the American people to continue to do the good work that it does. But this threat is going to be ongoing and evolving, and we need to evolve and adapt to it. And I think we have, given what we learned from 16, we have much better understanding and a much better footing in terms of what our capabilities are for it, identifying it, our relationship with the private sector, our relationship with social media providers, and the actual state and local officials that will get early indicators of any problems.
All right, Phil Andrew, former FBI special agent, thank you for joining us tonight and explaining some of what we heard tonight from the FBI. We'll be in touch.